What's up, guys? It's Wolf from the Quarantine, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a small game called Dracula's Feast. It is a game that will be seeking funding on Kickstarter. It's not currently available, but when the Kickstarter is available, I will have a link to it up here and down in the description as well. Now, Dracula's Feast is a game that plays 4 to 8 players, and it plays in roughly 15 minutes, and my 9-year-old daughter played it. The game doesn't actually have an age on what I got, but again, my 9-year-old daughter played it just fine. Now, Dracula's Feast is a deduction game of sorts, similar to games like Coup, Werewolf, The Resistance, and Clue, actually. What it is Dracula is hosting a dinner party, and he has invited a lot of the local townsfolk to come to his party, probably for dinner. And a lot of the monsters have actually come to crash the party, and it's kind of a masquerade ball kind of theme to it, so everybody's identity is hidden. And the objective of the game is basically to be the last one that hasn't been revealed yet, and that's pretty much it. So let's just dive straight over to the overview, shall we?
Alright, this is Dracula's Feast. Now, I'm going to set the game up for a 4-player game, but this is basically everything that's going to come with the game. There are a couple things. As usual, this is a review/preview, so I may miss a few rules and I may gloss over a few. Also, everything you see here is, of course, a prototype, and if you choose to kickstart the game, then your components may look a little different. But the way the game is going to go is you're going to take Dracula and then one card for every player that's going to be in the game. So we have, in this case, we are going to have Dracula, we're going to have a zombie, we'll have an Alucard, we will have the magic mirror, and then we will have Van Helsing into our game. So you're going to take these, the cards that just show the little pitchfork on the back, you'll take these and you'll set them face up in the middle of the table. I'm going to go ahead and remove these because these are the ones that are not being used in the current game. Then you're going to take the unmasked cards that are the same as the roles that you've already set out. So in this case we have, of course, Alucard, the zombie, the magic mirror, Van Helsing, and of course Dracula. You will shuffle these up and you will give each player one card, leaving you with one remaining, and you will leave that in the middle. That is the mystery guest. Then, each player, if needed, you're going to give them one of these little quick reference cards, and the quick reference card shows your actions and what every monster in the game does. Keeping in mind, you're able to tell who all is going to be in the game, so you need to know, okay, magic mirror, what does the magic mirror do? Okay, looks at the mystery guest before attempting a grand reveal, which I do need to make a note. I got an email from the developer that includes, like, no matter what, that's even if a player is playing the mystery guest. In the case of Dr. Jekyll, he gets to take over the mystery guest once he's out of the game, so it makes some pretty cool dynamics. But anyways, I digress. So what's going to happen is you're going to figure out who is going to go first. You're going to give each player a yes and no card, which will make more sense in a bit. So for the sake of this review, I'm going to flip all these face up, but of course they would all be face down. Now, each character has a special thing with them. So, for example, Van Helsing can win by correctly accusing Dracula or dancing with him, which will make more sense shortly. Or Alucard. He accepts all dances, answers yes to being Dracula when questioned, and wins by being given the Dracula accusation card, which is these right here. But on your turn, you're going to look at this card on this side and see what actions you're allowed to take. Your actions are to question, dance, accuse, or grand reveal. And you choose one of those, and then your turn's over and somebody else goes and does the same exact thing. So what are the different actions? You have question. So let's say if I'm Van Helsing, I can look over at Alucard and ask him, are you the zombie? So, because his rules say that he has to accept all dances and answers yes to being Dracula, in this case, he has to answer no. But you don't say it out loud, you do it similar to Clue, and these yes and no cards, you'll take the no, you'll slide it across the table to the player, they'll look at it, so only they have that information, and then they'll hand it back to him. So that answer was no, he is not the zombie, but nobody else knows what was asked. Now, if I asked him if he was Dracula, of course he would have to hand Alucard the yes card because his rules specifically state that he does. The next action you can do is to dance. So I can go, do you care to dance? And ask somebody if they would like to dance. If they say yes, then both players will exchange their player card. They will look at it in secret and then hand it back. So now you both know what each other are. Then you can accuse. What you would do is you would look at somebody and go, I think you are the zombie. And then what they will do is publicly announce yes or no. If they answered yes, then they flip their card over, they're out of the game. If they answer no, the person who accused is out of the game. Now, if you've danced with somebody, you are not allowed to accuse them. So in this scenario, these two players here are not allowed to accuse each other. And then last but not least, you have the grand reveal. So if during the game I go, I'm pretty sure I know who everybody is, and so you'll take all these and you'll go and divide them out. So of course I'm Van Helsing, and then I think this player is Dracula, and I think this player is the zombie, and I think this player is Alucard, and I'm pretty sure that this middle player, or the mystery guest, is the magic mirror. Then everybody is going to take their yes and no card, and you will put in whether or not the player who did the grand reveal is correct, because the player who does the grand reveal also reveals their card. So, because if they fail, they're out of the game. But you'll go ahead and put in, everybody will put in the yes, and then you'll reveal them. In this scenario, if all of them are yes, then the player who did the grand reveal wins, because everybody else is disqualified. You are allowed to, in this case, do it to somebody you've danced with. Now, if there's even one no in there, it gives everybody a little information, because maybe, similar to Clue, when you're doing questioning and whatnot, you might have already narrowed it down and you're not 100% sure about one or two people, and then there's one no in there, you might be able to come to a conclusion and you can do your own grand reveal. But anyways, if there's even one no in here, the player that did the grand reveal is now out of the game, unless you are Dr. Jekyll. Dr. Jekyll then gets to become the mystery guest. But that is honestly how you play Dracula's Feast. It is a very quick game, and it plays in about 15 minutes. So let's just go over to my final thoughts, shall we?
Alright, Dracula's Feast. I'm going to start out by saying we all had a blast with this game. It's a good blend of an actual game and something like Werewolf. And the reason I say that is, generally I don't like Werewolf. I own it, I play it pretty much whenever we get a large group together, but it's not a really fun game to me, because the problem with Werewolf is you'd be super hyped to play the game, and you're dead the first day, and it sucks to be you. You just gotta sit there and watch. So that really sucks. But this game is more of a gamey version of that. By the time people are actually getting eliminated, there's only a few minutes of the game left, because you only got 4 things you can do, and I think the longest game we played was 20 minutes, and that was an 8-player game, and there was a lot of table talk. Can't speak today. So it's a great little game. It plays quick. My 9-year-old daughter played it. She had a blast with it. Totally understood how to play. So I mean, it's a filler game. It is a game that you are supposed to play 4 or 5 games in a row, or maybe 1 or 2 between games, because it's, like I said, it's a gamey version of Werewolf. It actually feels more akin to something like Clue without the board, where you're trying to figure out who's crashing the party and yada yada yada. Now, the game does have a couple problems that I do feel like probably should mention. The biggest issue is the fact that if you dance with somebody, you can no longer accuse them. You can grand reveal, but you can't accuse. Keeping track of who you've danced with throughout the game, especially in an 8-player game, and if you play 2 or 3 games back to back to back, it sometimes gets a little hard to remember, okay, did I dance with them this game, or was it last game that I danced with them, and so on and so forth. So it kind of gets a little difficult to remember who you did and who you didn't dance with. At one point we used colored tokens to figure out who danced with who, and it kind of worked, but it was a little convoluted, and you got to have, each player has to have their own cube and a color associated with them, and you dance with somebody and hand them the cube, and it makes it way more fiddly, but it allows you to remember who danced with who, and so on and so forth. And it also gives you more information as well by doing that. Another gripe that we did have with the game, which is less of a gripe than it is maybe a personal thing, but the way the game works is it comes back around to you, and I may ask you, okay, are you Dracula? And it's probably going to be instinctual for you to go, no, or yeah, but that gives out way more information, and it kind of breaks the game. So we actually had to get to the point where we went, are you Dracula? Show me in the card. And specifically state that because it didn't happen too often, but it did happen enough for it to kind of throw some games off, and we'd kind of have to restart or just keep going, and basically wasted that person's turn because now everybody got free information. But other than that, the game plays great. It's a hoot. It's especially when somebody starts talking all nerdy through their nose because they're Alucard. Because if you look at the art for Alucard, he's just a nerdy version of Dracula, which is pretty funny. The artwork on the game is great. And if you look at, like, here's the Trickster. I love the artwork. It's very minimalistic and black and white with just color highlights. You know, the backs of the cards show the little masquerade ball. And an issue I'm always going to have with games, even though it makes the cards not look as good. I really wish people would put the stupid white border around here, because the moment there's a ding in this card and you play this enough, you're going to remember exactly what card this is. But that's a personal complaint. But, like, you know, we got this here, the backs of these cards. Oh, probably should hold it the right way. You know, the Dr. Jekyll card. You know, so the artwork's great. The yes and no, we really like the way those look. They're very, very simplistic, very minimalistic. And overall, the game works really well. Again, plays 10 to 20 minutes, and that's maximum with table talk. And everybody had a blast with it. Nobody that I played this with didn't like it, if that makes sense. Everybody that played it loved the game. I know of several people who played it absolutely hate Werewolf. They don't like Coup. They don't like those social deduction games because they're more of an activity than they are a game, which I disagree in, unless you're talking about Werewolf. But they really, really enjoyed this game because it is a gamey version of the previously mentioned. Anyways, that is Dracula's Feast. Great little game. If you like it, what you saw here, again, I'll have a link to the Kickstarter up here once it's available. If you like my channel, support me on Patreon, also up here, and I will see you guys next time in the quarantine.